In pop culture, school, and a million other places, we're always being told what to do. It's a life hack here, an old wives' tale there. Everybody seems to know the right thing for you. But the thing is, they don't. It's usually not on purpose, but a lot of times the info people give you just isn't right. Luckily, the Hub has your back this time. Here are the 10 lies that you still believe. Before your mind gets totally blown, be sure and subscribe to our channel and turn on your alerts. We promise we won't lie to you. A full night's rest. The first lie on our list is one you're certainly familiar with. Oftentimes when we show up to school or work, somebody will have to tell you about how little sleep they got the night before. It's almost become a competition to see who got the least amount of sleep under the required 8 hours a night. But that's where the reality ends. Because needing a standard 8 hours of sleep just isn't universally true. For years, doctors said that 8 hours a night was the way to go. But doctors also used to say that cigarette smoke wasn't very harmful. What we're trying to say is that the information we have as a culture changes over time with the development of new discoveries. Today, many scientists say that the amount of sleep we need each night varies person to person. And when you think about it, this makes a ton of sense. Each person doesn't eat the exact same amount or exercise the same amount, do they? Plus, there are more factors to consider as well. For example, if you're sick, you generally are going to need a lot more sleep than a healthy person. And if you have recently been sleeping poorly or erratically, this will greatly affect the amount of sleep you need too. Shaving darker. A lot of children heard this next lie while going through puberty. No, not that everything would be easy in middle school, but the classic lie about shaving. Grandparents, parents, older siblings, neighbors, almost everybody will tell you that shaving makes your hair grow back thicker. But we have bad news for boys frantically shaving to try and grow a sweet mustache. It just isn't true. As the body develops, the hair on it naturally grows darker and thicker. Whether or not you have to shave it is no bearing on the issue. But if you are one of the types of people that insist it's true because you claim to have seen it with your own eyes, we have an explanation for you too. Humans are actually pretty observant, so whenever a hair is shaved down into stubble, there can be the appearance of thick hair. That's because human hair is tapered at the end. Whenever it grows back from that spot, you'll have the same old hair as before. The lesson here is not to panic, just let Mother Nature take her course. The cause of warts. The social stigma behind the next item on our list is enough to make some people hysterical. But fear not, animal lovers, we're here to finally debunk the myth that toads give you warts. The next time you walk into a pet store, there's no need to avoid the amphibian section. This bizarre lie started likely because toads can appear to have warts on their bodies. But what we're seeing aren't warts at all. They are simply bumps behind the ears of toads, called the parotoid glands. When humans would think back to other contagious ailments and diseases, they noted that they often spread via open sores and wounds. Why would the wart be any different? Well, in this case, it actually was different. Warts are simply a human virus. Any dermatologist will tell you that you have nothing to worry about in that department. However, toads do have glands with a poison that will irritate the skin of humans. They secrete this substance for self-defense against potential predators. And yes, that includes humans. So kissing a toad to try and transform it into a prince should be totally off the table. Don't believe what Disney taught you. A mother's rejection. This lie certainly came about as a white lie to protect an animal. It's hard to blame parents and adults from trying to keep kids away from birds. After all, children can sometimes accidentally be too careless and too aggressive around smaller animals. The warning that mother birds abandon their young if a human has touched it just isn't true. Whenever you see a baby bird on the ground, the instinct may be to go and help it. Maybe it's lost its nest, maybe it's hurt and needs help getting back. The best bet here is to simply let the baby bird be. It is very likely in the process of learning to fly, and interrupting it could be harmful to its development. You'd hate to screw up a bird's flying lessons, wouldn't you? On top of that, handling birds in the wild could also be very dangerous to humans as well. Some birds carry mites and diseases that could be passed through a person's skin. The only type of bird that has the super sensitive sense of smell that people often attribute to the common bird is a vulture. But they don't use their smell to abandon their young, they use it to find dinner. Jellyfish sting. Have you ever been in such extreme pain that you were willing to do anything to make it go away? Even have somebody pee on you? Wait, maybe we should explain a little bit better before this goes too far off the rails. An old wives' tale says that if you're ever on a beach and get stung by a jellyfish, then there exists an easy solution. Simply have somebody pee on the spot where you were stung, and the pain will be alleviated almost immediately. Pretty great, right? Except that's just not true. We know this lie has been widely popularized in movies and TV, and even appeared on an episode of Friends. If Monica got stung by a jellyfish and had somebody pee on it in real life, it would actually have the opposite effect. Urine has been known to activate the jellyfish stingers in the skin, causing even more pain. The good news is that even if you get stung by a sneaky jellyfish, the pain won't last too long. usually goes away within 24 hours or so. So if you can survive the first 5 minutes of pain, you'll be good to go. Just no peeing on it, okay? NASA pen. Let's jump from a lie about beaches to a lie told about outer space. During the Cold War, there was a lot of propaganda going around in all directions. It was widely popular to criticize either the United States or the Soviet Union, depending on what side you were on, of course. So that's why when this lie came out, people instantly believed it. It was said that the United States spent millions of dollars developing a special pen that could be used to write in outer space. Because of the lack of sufficient gravity, traditional pens won't write during space travel. And the counterpoint of the apparent government overspending was the Soviet Union astronauts decided to just use a pencil instead. The reason this is a lie is that using pencils in space was a dangerous move. Butts of the lead could break off and get into mechanical parts of the spacecraft that they shouldn't be. The Soviets actually ended up using the pens that were created shortly after this. After all, they were the better and safer choice. So if you ever get an email forwarded to you that promises to prove just how stupid the United States is for overspending, you'll now know the truth. Coca-Cola acid. If we were to take a guess, we'd say this next lie was created by Pepsi. Coca-Cola is the largest and most popular non-alcoholic beverage on planet Earth. Because of its widespread fame, it's no surprise that several lies and myths have popped up about it over the years. For example, one of the more popular lies says that if you left a tooth or a nail or a penny in a can of Coke overnight, that the next day it would be completely dissolved. This lie exists to play up the fear of acids that exist in Coke's ingredients. While it's true that the citric acid and phosphoric acid will eventually dissolve your teeth, this is also true of many everyday items we drink. Given a long enough timeline, even orange juice would dissolve your teeth. Luckily, when we drink these liquids, they only wash over our teeth for a very brief moment. We aren't holding mouthfuls of acid in our mouth all day, so there's very little to worry about. If you are worried about Coke affecting your health, it would be better to focus on the massive amounts of sugar in each bottle and can. Maybe drink a little more water each day. No pain, no gain. We believe a lot of lies simply because we want to. Even when they don't make much sense, we can often get influenced by our pride and ego. Take this next lie, for example. No pain, no gain while working out. It's often said that the only way to get a legitimate workout is if you feel sore and painful afterwards. This soreness that develops around 6 hours after working out is called DOMS, or Delayed Onset Muscle Soreness. With many lies we're told about working out, they exist because each individual person is different. The fact that some people see better results when DOMS appears influences other people to try harder to ensure they feel the similar pain. This often makes people overdo it in the gym, leading to injuries. This would actually set you back in your progress. Not so tough now, huh? Some people even think that if you were more physically fit, you would be less susceptible to getting DOMS. Also not true. Each person has a genetic component to how we feel pain and soreness. So competing with your workout buddy to see who can be in more pain is not the way to do things. You'll just end up with a bad back and nothing to show for it. 5 senses. This lie may seem like common sense, but it's been drilled into our heads so much that it's hard to see it. We are told from the beginning of school that the human has 5 senses. There are the classics: sight, smell, touch, taste, and hearing. And nobody is debating that part. But what we never really consider is that the human body has way more than those 5. Don't believe us? Well, here are just a few that we use every day and don't think about. We have the sense of balance. This helps us not fall down every time we walk. We have the sense of movement and the sense of knowing where our body parts are. Without these, we wouldn't be able to type without looking at the keyboard or walk without looking at our feet. We also have the sense of pain and the sense of temperature. Try eating a bowl of hot soup without those 2. And finally, we have the sense of time. If we couldn't subconsciously tell what time it was, everyday life would be totally chaotic. Our internal clocks are one of the most important senses of all. And to think, it didn't even make the original 5 senses list. Sitting too close. The last lie on our list is something that we're sure most of us are guilty of, but this one is actually a good thing for once. So don't be afraid. When we were kids watching TV, a common thing to hear would be a parent or loved one saying not to sit so close. They claimed that watching TV that close could damage your eyesight. Weirdly enough, there's no scientific truth to back up this claim. The reason kids sit so close in the first place is the difference between the eyesight of children and adults. Children have the ability to focus on things they see much closer up than adults can. This means that they have a tendency to read close to their face and sit right next to the TV. It's nothing to stress out about, as kids usually drop this habit altogether when they get older. Staring at anything for too long can cause strain on your eyes, of course, so don't go and sit 6 inches away from your screen all day. But there ultimately is no connection between eye damage and close TV watching. Your parents probably just wanted you to move so they could see the screen better. Well, that's the end of our Look into Lies You Still Believe. And if you believed all of them on this list, don't worry. If you watch more videos on the Hub, you can stay up to date on the latest info and fun facts. We'll see you next time.